following President Biden. And Allie Bradley is in Eagle Pass with former President Trump. We start with Brooke. President Biden just completed his remarks. President Biden repeatedly invoked the bipartisan border deal and hammered Republicans for refusing to even vote for it.
That's exactly right, Elizabeth, and that is what we were expecting to hear from President Biden during his visit to Brownsville, Texas. He is wrapping up his afternoon here along the border. In his hours here in Brownsville, he was briefed by Border Patrol agents and local authorities here who told President Biden that they are in desperate need of supplies and manpower down here. Then President Biden making a forceful speech, like you said, going after Republicans, slamming them for what he called inaction, saying it's time to sign a bipartisan border deal.
They desperately need more resources. Say it again, they desperately need more resources, need more agents, more officers, more judges, more equipment in order to secure our border. Folks, it's time for us to move on this. We can't wait any longer.
And this visit to the border, the second one for President Joe Biden, the backdrop of Brownsville is no coincidence as well. This is a Democratic stronghold and an area along the border that has recently seen a sharp decline in migrant crossings. The Biden administration using those low numbers here in Brownsville as a moment to highlight a win along the border, while Republicans have slammed President Biden's decision to come here, labeling it a photo op, criticizing the president for not visiting a different border town with more overflowing numbers. When asked why President Biden visited the border today on the same day as former President Donald Trump, the Biden administration said it's because border legislation at this point has stalled. Elizabeth?
All right, Brooke Schaefer, thanks so much. NewsNation's Allie Bradley, meanwhile, is live in Eagle Pass, Texas, where the crossings are numbering in the hundreds, and where former President Trump just toured. Allie, he had quite a fiery speech.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Elizabeth. And he focused a lot on the crimes that are being committed right now by illegal immigrants. He talked about Laken Riley, the Georgia nursing student that was killed, and he talked about that he actually said that President Biden wouldn't say her name, and he said that he spoke with Laken Riley's family, and he's basically, as we expected, pointing the blame at the Biden administration, saying everything that's going on at the southern border is at the hands of this administration and the policies that basically he overturned on day one, including stopping building the border wall. We know that the Biden administration on day one signed off on a slew of executive orders that reversed a lot of former President Trump's moves at the southern border. Now, despite that, Governor Abbott has kind of stepped in and fortified the border in what he says is President Biden's absence. So Governor Abbott has been alongside President Trump for this tour here today. They were touring that area. They started in the Tactical Operations Center, where they met with National Guard soldiers. They met with Texas DPS. And Brandon Judd with the National Border Patrol Council is also in tow there. Now, as we speculated, there wouldn't be any actual federal agents inside of Shelby Park alongside President Trump today, because that is an infight that has been ongoing with the federal government and Governor Abbott down here. But despite Governor Abbott's efforts, Elizabeth, we are still seeing, as you said, hundreds of people crossing into this sector. We've seen several groups. We saw a group of 60 just this morning that we caught on camera. And then yesterday I was there as 3 different groups were apprehended by Border Patrol. And in one of those groups, I was there as 5 unaccompanied minors crossed, Elizabeth, and none of them had parents with them. None of them had a guardian, but they did have note cards and a piece of paper that had an address on it as to where they were going to eventually end up as their final destination. So it's really showing what's going on down here, something that is the reason why President Trump wanted to come down here, because he wants to point the blame at the Biden administration, as we've heard him say. Take a listen to some of the remarks here by President Trump just moments ago.
This is a Joe Biden invasion. Last year, almost half of all ICE arrests were criminal aliens charged for more than 33,000 assaults, 3,000 robberies, 6,900 burglaries, 7,500 weapons crimes. This is all migrant crime. 4,300 sex crimes.
Okay, Elizabeth, so right now the president is still inside Shelby Park. He is sitting down talking with some folks. He just answered a couple of questions, but as of right now, He's going to be talking with some other media right now. So as far as what he's going to be learning down here, it's going to be kind of more of the same, but it does seem to be something that, again, was his intention of pointing the blame at Biden.
All right, Allie Bradley with former President Trump down in Eagle Pass. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.